Hello and welcome back to the GSMC College Football Podcast, presented to you by the GSMC Podcast Network on this Tuesday, May 20th. Gonna finish off by continuing my SEC rankings. So I did the bottom tier of the conference today. Gonna start at number 10. I think it's Auburn. Now, Auburn, they definitely have the talent to compete this year. There's no more excuses for Hugh Freeze. You can't blame Brian Harsin, his staff, on any more shortcomings. There's been enough time to get your guys in, to recruit who you want from Hugh Freeze. There's been enough time to remake this roster, to rebuild it in his image. So, this is go time for Auburn, right? This is when Hugh Freeze really needs to kind of step up. They've completely remade pretty much the entire roster, and that includes taking a swing on former Oklahoma quarterback Jackson Arnold. Jackson Arnold really kind of struggled in year one in the SEC at Oklahoma, showed flashes of brilliance with Oklahoma at times, but really never kind of reached that level befitting of a player of his status, right? This is a kid that was former five-star quarterback, super high expectations, a really big win for Oklahoma at the time when he committed, but never really kind of got everything to click, never kind of showcased that next level. So now you're working with Hugh Freeze, a guy that's kind of been known to really develop strong quarterback play. Maybe Hugh Freeze can develop that next level. Maybe he can get Jackson Arnold to that next spot. If he does, Auburn's going to finish higher on this list than I have them. The pieces are in place elsewhere. The D-line's pretty stacked. Jamonte Waller, there's a couple other guys, a couple different places where Auburn has really strong players. I love their wide receiver room and Eric Singleton Jr., Cam Coleman. I'm really high on those two guys. But this is a team, a program. The pieces are in place at other positions, at other spots. Can Jackson Arnold put it all together and lead Auburn back to prominence in the SEC, back to relevance? That's a big question mark. It's going to be on his shoulders pretty much for this upcoming year. Now, another team with kind of question marks around quarterback that they weren't expecting is Tennessee. Tennessee I have ranked one higher than Auburn. They're number 9 on my list. And obviously, the big key here is the whole Nico Yamaleva situation that played out throughout the spring. That saga really kind of overshadowed some of the other issues that Tennessee is plagued with currently, mostly on the offensive side of the ball. There's no Dylan Sampson. Mind you, Dylan Sampson, 2024 Offensive Player of the Year in SEC. No Dylan Sampson in the running back room. No standout wide receivers, really. Square White's gone. A couple other guys are gone. Offensive line, really lacking quality depth. Defense, they're going to be okay again. They should be among the best in the SEC. Even if Jermon McCoy is kind of working his way back from that torn ACL, this is still a really solid defensive unit for Tennessee. But I don't know, just with the offensive issues, question marks on that side of the ball, I don't know if they're a college football playoff contender again this year. I don't really see them kind of reaching that status. I think there's too many question marks, especially on offense. We don't know what Joey Aguilar is going to look like either after he comes in to replace Nico Yamaleva. We're not really sure. Defense is going to be solid. Offense is going to be an unknown. Tennessee, could they get back? It's certainly possible. I just don't know. I think there's too many question marks this year to have them ranked any higher right now. Another team with question marks at times is Texas A&M. I have Texas A&M slightly above Tennessee right now. I think they're that number 8 team in the SEC. But this is a really tough team to figure out. A lot of their hopes kind of hinge on Marcel Reed, if he can develop into what they think he can be. Kind of showcased it at times, but we don't know if Marcel Reed can develop into that next tier of quarterback. Right now, he's kind of been middling for them. And this is an A&M team that they're really talented across the board. They also put a lot of effort into upgrading pretty much everybody around Marcel Reed. Wide receivers coming in, Mario Craver, Mississippi State was their number one wideout. I talked about KC Concepcion earlier in the show, but those were A-plus additions in the transfer portal. Also, they have an experienced offensive line, so that kind of coupled with the wide receiver room really gives Marcel Reed the platform, the position to be put in to succeed. Will he take it and run with it? Will he be able to capitalize on everything around him? This is a super talented Texas A&M team. That hasn't been the issue the past multiple seasons. Is they've been talented across the board, but quarterback play has held them back. They're going to need Marcel Reed to be a guy for them. Can he do that? I don't know. I kind of have question marks around that idea. I don't know if he can develop into that next level kind of star. It's certainly there. I just don't know if I see it happening. I think this is a Texas A&M team that, again, they're going to show flashes of why they can be great. They have the talent there. They're going to beat a team or two that they shouldn't. But then they're probably going to lose a game or two that they shouldn't. I think they're going to be inconsistent. I think we're going to see how talented they are at times. And then other cases, we're going to see what's been holding them back, namely quarterback play. I think Marcel Reed is probably going to be a little inconsistent again this year, and that could be another theme for the 2025 Texas A&M Aggies. Now, the team I have ahead of them also kind of has quarterback questions, but in a different sort of way. I think Florida is the number 7 team in the SEC, and there's certainly an argument to be made that Texas A&M, Tennessee, that those are better programs than Florida. I'm a believer in Florida, though. This is a program that's really talented, really deep. DJ Lagway can be a Heisman contender. That's not hyperbole. He certainly can and should be a Heisman contender if he kind of plays up to the standard that he set for himself last year. 6-1 as a starter in 2024. A guy that has all of the physical tools needed to consistently kind of produce highlight reel level plays. A guy that's a stronger passer than people realized too. A young kid last year, gonna have another year of experience. One big question mark with him though is he was pretty much out almost all of spring, wasn't throwing the football, is now back to throwing the football. That's a really big plus for Florida because if DJ Lagway's not playing, this is a team that's gonna have some issues. They do have to replace Shamir DK, Elijah Badger, but Eugene Wilson III, UCLA transfer J. Michael Sturdivant, those are really capable replacements, guys that can lead that wide receiver room for the Gators. It also helps that this is one of the SEC's most battle-tested rosters. They have veterans like Jake Slaughter at center, Tyreek Sapp, edge rusher, Caleb Banks at D-line, that all chose to not go to the draft, forego that, come back to Gainesville for a final year. That's really big bonus. This is going to be another tough schedule for Florida. But I think they can pump up to the task. Their 5 losses last year were against top 25 teams. They probably have another 7 or 8 teams on their schedule this year that could be ranked at certain points of the season. But I think Florida, they're going to have enough talent with the continued improvement of DJ Lagway. I think they even win a couple more games than they did last year. I could see this being an 8 or 9 win Florida team with some really impressive wins. They're deep, they're talented, they're going to be a lot of fun to watch, especially if DJ Lagway can kind of develop into what everybody believes he can be. So with that, we are going to end our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC College Football Podcast, presented to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Please remember to like, subscribe, follow the channel, and if you want, you can also go to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter for even more sports content, more sports updates that you love. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to